So this is Algebra 1, and we are in lesson number 93, called Product of Rational Expressions and Quotients of Rational Expressions. Okay, one of the things that's important is when you have a problem like this, and you just have to multiply the numerators over the denominators, and then you have to reduce. One of the things that makes it easier is if you reduce first before you multiply. So let's say that we reduce this to 1/6 and we multiply this times 3/4. Then when we multiply, we don't have to reduce because it's already reduced, and we get 3/24. Now when we have bigger numbers, harder to reduce and a more chance to make mistakes. But when we reduce it before we multiply, we get an answer that's already reduced, and we're dealing with smaller numbers. All right, let's talk about algebra. Sometimes we're going to have some pretty hairy looking equations or expressions, and we're going to be asked to multiply those. So let's say that we're given this, and we're going to multiply that by, that's going to be over that. Now we could multiply this whole thing and put it over this, but it's going to be like impossible to reduce it. So my suggestion is, let's reduce this puppy. The top, reduce that, reduce that, reduce that, reduce that, or simplify it, I guess is what we're doing, and then it'll be a lot easier. Well, this here, because we have this squared and a minus sign, and we can take the square root of that. This is called the difference of two squares, remember? And you make two parentheses, square root of both of them. There's really no thought in here, it's just following the method. So you take the square root of that, plus or minus sign. Okay, the bottom. What's common? We have an x, and we have an x minus 7 left over. So we just simplified. Let's look at the next one. We can factor out an x, and we're left with x plus 3. And that's over. We can simplify this into two binomials. Two numbers multiplied together give you negative 15, added together give you negative 2, and that's going to be a 5 and a 3. Because 5 times 3 is going to give you 15. But we need a negative 15, so one of these is going to be negative. Which one's negative? The one, since this is negative, it means the biggest one is negative. So that's going to be negative, and that's going to be positive. So now what we've got is negative 5 times 3 is negative 15. Negative 5 plus 3 is negative 2. So we just simplified that. So we took this one, this one, this one, and this one, and just simplified all of them. Notice they're a lot better, easier to deal with because the x squareds all disappeared. And remember, we can cancel. We can cancel the things on the top with the things on the bottom. So there's an x there. There's an x there. There's an x minus 5 there, an x minus 5 there, an x plus 3 there, an x plus 3 there. What do we have left? That is if you were to multiply this. So it's a lot easier to simplify and multiply and cancel than multiply than it is to multiply first and then try to cancel and simplify it after that. Okay, so we'll do a couple more. Make sure that you have this down a little bit. Alright, so we've got x squared plus x plus 6. Whoops, I'm sorry, that should be a minus 6. Minus 6, and that's going to be over x squared minus 4x minus 21. And I'm multiplying that by x squared minus 8x plus 7. And that's going to be x squared minus x minus 2. Okay, so we're going to take each one of these, the tops and the bottoms, and we're going to break them down. We're going to simplify them. So let's simplify that one first. An x and an x. Two numbers multiplied together give me a negative 6, added give me a positive 1. Since that's a plus, remember, the first sign right here will determine what sign the biggest number gets. So 3 times 2 will give me 6. 3 minus 2 will give me 1. So the biggest number is going to be a plus sign, and the other number is going to be a minus. So what do we have? 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. 3 minus 2 is 1, so I know I did that right. Okay, bottom, 2 parentheses. And I know my first is going to be an x, and now I'm looking for two numbers multiplied together give me 7. And if I put them together, I need to get a 4. So let's say you use 21 and 1. 21 times 1 is 21. Can we get a 4 with the 21 and 1? No. But if we use 7 and 3, 7 times 3 is 21, and the difference between 7 and 3 is 4. So we can use 7 and 3. Alright, that negative sign means the biggest number is a negative, so we get that. Alright, next one. X, two numbers multiplied together give me 7. Well, the only two possible numbers are 7 and 1. And when I add them, I get 8. But how can I add a 7 and 1 and get a negative 8? Well, if this is negative and negative, that will work. And negative 7 times negative 1, two negatives is a positive. Alright, let's put that over. X, two numbers multiplied together give me 2. Well, the only numbers multiplied together give me 2 is 2 and 1, because it's a prime number. And 2 minus 1, or difference between 2 and 1 is a 1. So there's a negative. So what does that mean? The negative is on the biggest number, and then this one's a plus. Okay, so that's the hard part. The rest of it's just canceling. Cancel that with that, that with that, that with that, and our answer is x minus 1, x plus 1. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Okay, this is 93B. In fact, this is example 93.3. And what we've got here is a division sign. Alright, a division sign is not going to make things that rough. This is what you do. You got a division sign, you make it into a multiplication sign and turn the second set of numbers, letters, whatever they are, upside down. Times, and do that, and then we simplify. Okay, so let's look at the top. Alright, so what do I have common? I have an x, so I can pull that out. On the bottom, two factors, x, two numbers multiplied together give me 8. Can I get a 2 from that? So 4 and 2, it gives me 8, but the difference is 2. So 4 and 2. This is the sign on the biggest number, and put that as a negative. So now we've got 4 times negative 2 gives me negative 8. Okay, times, let's look at this one. Okay, two numbers multiplied together give me 12, added give me 7, or subtracted, whatever, and that ends up being 3 and 4, because 3 and 4 add together to be 7. Okay, pull out an x, left with an x plus 5, and then all we have to do is cancel. X minus 2, cancel those, cancel that, and we're left with x plus 3 over x plus 5. Okay, so the only difference between the addition and the division is flipping the second part upside down and turning it into a multiplication problem. Alright, one more. Okay, there we go, division. So we're going to take that division sign off. If I can find my eraser here. Alright. Yeah, I guess it won't erase, will it? Make it into a big circle for times. Alright, so we got x squared minus x minus 6 over x squared minus 3x minus 10 times, and we're going to flip it over. It's the only difference between division and multiplication, and it's just practicing simplifying. So we're going to take that. So we've got an x and an x, a 3 and a 2. 3 times 2 is 6, and the difference is 1. That's a minus, so my 3 is going to be negative, and I get that. Okay, the bottom. X, x. What numbers multiplied together give me 10, and added or subtracted give me 3? Well, 5 and 2, and then the difference between 5 and 2 is 3. And because this is a minus goes on the big number, and we get that. All right. X squared minus x minus 20. We've got an x and an x. What times what is 20? The difference is 1. The number that's in front of the x would be 5 and 4. And that's a negative, so the bigger number gets the negative. Okay, last one. Two numbers multiplied together give me 4, added give me 5. Well, 2 times 2 is 4, but 2 plus 2 is not 5. How about 4 and 1? 4 times 1 is 4. 4 plus 1 is 5. And they're both plus because you have to get a positive 5. Alright, then we just cancel. Canceling is always fun. It takes no energy really at all, does it? So we get x minus 3 over x plus 1, and we be done with that one. And that's it for lesson number 93, Algebra 1.